Welcome into WagerTalk TV. I am Drew Martin, joined by Kevin Dolan and Brian Leonard of WagerTalk.com, and we're talking an SEC West Division battle here Saturday night on the Plains, 7 p.m. Eastern kick. Brian, coming to you first. We're seeing LSU minus 9-point road favorites, 45.5 being the total as we're talking midweek. Battle of Tigers. Are you liking anything in Jordan-Hare Stadium, Brian?
I always like to take a look at the line movement, the way the market's been going in this game. Granted, 9, 9.5, 8, 7.5, not a huge differential, as they're not key numbers at all, but bookmakers been sitting there at 8 all week, where I've seen up to 9, 9.5 other places. Maybe we learned something from that as bookmakers, one of the biggest offshores out there. A little history. LSU lost at home last year to Auburn, 24-19. It was a really bad LSU team last year, and it was not because of the personnel. I believe it was a lot of injuries, but the coaching. They had bad coaching last year. They were 1-4 straight up on the road. Their only road victory was by 3 points. Now you're looking for them to go into Auburn, who's not been impressive so far, and they're laying anywhere from 8 to 9.5. It is the first true road game for LSU, as they did play one game away from home, but that was in New Orleans. Very familiar, they're a pro LSU crowd. The concern I have with LSU is the Tigers are bad on defensive explosive passing. They've given up a lot of passes for big yardage this year, and the only problem is Auburn doesn't pass the ball very well. The quarterback rating for Auburn is about 121, and Auburn's opponents are about 121. So Auburn may not have the ability to pass on this LSU team, and that is the concern. And when you look at Auburn from a scheduling standpoint, this is their 5th straight home game to start the season. So they don't have to leave at all, even though LSU, like I said, they only went to New Orleans one time. But despite playing the likes of Mercer, San Jose State, and Missouri, Auburn is only outscoring the opposition. They played 4 games, 3 of them those weak teams. Mercer, San Jose's okay, and Missouri's all right. They're similar to the the South Carolina that I talked about, but they're only outscoring the opposition by 2 points per game with an easy schedule. They've only permitted 18 scoring opportunities for the opposition. Those are drives in which they got into the Auburn 40 or deeper. The only problem is, in those 18 opportunities, they're allowing 4.5 points per opportunity. So when you do get into the red zone and in that area for Auburn, they're giving up touchdowns. And that's going to hurt them if that happens here. If they can hold LSU to some field goals out there, I think this line may be a little bit too high. I prefer the Auburn side, but probably not going to get involved this one, because what do we know about LSU? They played all the games at home. Auburn's done the same thing. We'll see how this goes. If LSU can win this game and be dominant on the road, they deserve a lot of the credit that a lot of people are starting to give them right now.
Battle of Tigers there. That's Brian Leonard. Kevin, coming to you in conclusion. It's a tough place to play there. Jordan-Hare Saturday night. 2 3-1 teams, making the matchup just straight up. But when you look at the Tigers, 0-4 against the spread, to Brian's point, they really haven't looked all that great. +9 at home. Is it enough for you to see the home dog barking, or are you going with the LSU side of the Tiger battle?
This is an easy one for me, Drew, because I've already bet this game 4% play on LSU. That's the side I like in this one. I covered it actually in depth on the WagerTalk Today segment earlier today. Brian mentioned it a little bit. It's not often I pay much attention to revenge angles in college football, but anything else, there are exceptions to the rule. This is one of them, in my opinion. We don't even have to look back just to last year's game. After LSU won the national title game back in January 2020, they had that target kind of painted on their back. Then the following season, and were blew out in this venue. 48-11 landslide victory for the Auburn Tigers in that one. Not only did that represent the most number of points either team has ever hung on the other one in this series, but it was also the biggest ever margin of victory for Auburn over this series' history as well. And, Brian mentioned it, that was followed up last year, with that fourth quarter collapse by LSU in Baton Rouge. First time Auburn had won in that venue since 1999. So, One big revenge angle I can probably overlook, but LSU have two big reasons to be fired up ahead of this one. Doubt many of this Auburn roster are on their Christmas card list ahead of this year. And look, it's a lot of the same roster on these teams as well. Guys like wide receiver Malik Neighbors, wide receiver Jeray Jenkins for LSU, and so on. So LSU will definitely want some payback in this one, in my opinion. Even outside of the whole revenge angle, LSU have been playing the much better football. They have an average scoring margin differential of 33.7 points per game over the last three starts. They rank top 10 nationally on both overall score and defense, total opponent yards per game this year as well. And, on the other side, I just haven't been impressed what I've seen, especially out of the quarterback situation at Auburn. Robbie Ashford coming in on backup duty. He put up a 43.7 QBR rating against Missouri last week, just 29.4 coming on for TJ Finley in the week prior against Penn State as well. So give me LSU playing here with revenge to the better team. I think it all adds up to a double-digit win here on Saturday against Auburn.
He's Kevin Dolan, liking the Bayou Bengals Saturday night on the Plains. You heard from Brian Leonard as well. Check them both out, WagerTalk.com. Guys, a good day to do so is Tuesdays. It's $2 Tuesdays. Top handicappers, top play, discounted to just $2. Check it out, WagerTalk.com.